Hello, my dear friends. I'm Dr. Richard Caldwell, and at 85 years old, I've dedicated the last 45 years of my life to internal medicine, walking alongside thousands of patients through their darkest health struggles and their brightest recoveries. Today, as I sit in my small community clinic here in peaceful Riverside, I want to share something that has both amazed and alarmed me throughout my decades of practice. You see, after retiring from the bustling city hospital 5 years ago, I couldn't simply sit at home watching the world go by. My wife Margaret always said I had healing in my bones, and she was right. That's why I opened this little clinic, not for profit, but for purpose. Every morning when I turn that key in the door, I make myself the same promise. Today, I will help at least one person rediscover what it means to feel truly well. And that brings me to today's story. A story about something sitting right there in your spice cabinet. Something that could be your greatest ally or your most dangerous enemy. I'm talking about turmeric, that beautiful golden spice that has captured the world's attention as a superfood miracle. But after treating hundreds of patients whose health was both saved and nearly destroyed by this very same ingredient, I must tell you the whole truth. People constantly ask me, Dr. Caldwell, you look so vibrant for your age, what's your secret? The truth is, my vitality comes from understanding that every natural remedy has two faces, one that heals and one that harms. Today, I want to pull back the curtain on turmeric and share what the supplement industry doesn't want you to know. Let me start with Margaret Chun, a 67-year-old retired teacher who came to my clinic last spring. Margaret had read countless articles about turmeric's anti-inflammatory properties. Like so many well-meaning people, she decided that if a little turmeric was good, a lot must be better. She began taking 4 high-dose turmeric supplements daily, each containing 1,500 milligrams of concentrated curcumin, plus adding generous amounts of turmeric powder to every meal. For 3 months, Margaret felt wonderful. Her joint pain decreased. Her energy improved, and she was convinced she'd found her fountain of youth. But then something terrifying happened. She began experiencing severe abdominal pain, nausea, and her skin took on a yellowish tinge that she initially attributed to all the turmeric she was consuming. When Margaret finally came to see me, barely able to walk from the pain, my heart sank. Blood tests revealed her liver enzymes were skyrocketing. ALT levels at 340 when normal is under 40. ASD at 298 when it should be under 35. Margaret was in acute liver distress, and the culprit was the very supplement she thought was saving her life. You see, turmeric contains powerful compounds called curcuminoids, and while these can be healing in proper doses, they can overwhelm the liver's detoxification pathways when consumed excessively. Margaret's liver was working overtime trying to process these concentrated compounds, and it was failing. We immediately stopped all turmeric supplementation, put her on liver support therapy, and thankfully, after 6 weeks of careful monitoring, her liver function gradually returned to normal. But Margaret's story isn't unique. Let me tell you about James Rodriguez, a 58-year-old construction worker who had been struggling with chronic back pain for years. Desperate for relief and wanting to avoid prescription painkillers, James discovered turmeric supplements. However, James was also taking warfarin, a blood-thinning medication, for a heart condition his previous doctor had prescribed. Nobody had warned James that turmeric significantly enhances the effects of blood-thinning medications. For 2 months, he faithfully took his turmeric supplements alongside his warfarin, feeling proud that he was taking control of his health naturally. Then one morning, James noticed unusual bruising on his arms and legs. By afternoon, he was spitting up blood. When James arrived at the emergency room, his blood was so thin it could barely clot. His INR levels, which measure blood clotting time, were dangerously elevated at 8.2, when they should have been between 2 and 3 for someone on warfarin. We had to immediately reverse his anticoagulation and keep him under observation for 48 hours. The combination of turmeric and warfarin had turned his blood into something closer to water than the life-giving fluid it should be. This dangerous interaction isn't rare. It's predictable when turmeric's blood-thinning properties are combined with anticoagulant medications. Yet thousands of people make this mistake daily because they assume natural means safe. Then there's the heartbreaking case of Patricia Williams, a 71-year-old grandmother who suffered from gallstones. Patricia had read online that turmeric could help dissolve gallstones naturally. What she didn't realize was that turmeric actually stimulates bile production and gallbladder contractions. For someone with existing gallstones, this can be catastrophic. Patricia began drinking turmeric tea 3 times daily and taking 2 turmeric capsules with each meal. Within a week, she experienced the most excruciating pain of her life as the increased bile flow caused her gallstones to become lodged in her bile duct. She required emergency surgery to remove the obstruction, and what could have been managed with simple dietary changes became a major medical crisis. Patricia's surgeon told her family that if she had waited even a few hours longer to seek help, the blocked bile duct could have led to life-threatening infection or pancreatic damage. All because she was trying to heal herself with what she thought was a harmless spice. These aren't isolated incidents, my friends. In my 5 years running this clinic, I've seen dozens of similar cases. The pattern is always the same: well-intentioned people who believe that natural equals safe, taking matters into their own hands without understanding the profound power of what they're consuming. But please don't think I'm here to demonize turmeric. Quite the opposite. When used correctly, I've witnessed this golden spice perform what can only be described as miracles. Let me share some stories that will restore your faith in the healing power of nature when wielded with wisdom. Consider Dorothy Martinez, a 74-year-old artist who came to me last year with rheumatoid arthritis so severe she could no longer hold her paintbrushes. Her joints were swollen, painful, and her quality of life had deteriorated dramatically. Traditional anti-inflammatory medications were causing stomach ulcers, and she was desperate for an alternative. Instead of high-dose supplements, I recommended Dorothy try fresh turmeric root prepared in a very specific way. Every morning, she would simmer 1 teaspoon of freshly grated turmeric root with a pinch of black pepper in a cup of warm coconut milk for exactly 10 minutes. Then strain and drink it slowly with breakfast. The black pepper was crucial because it contains piperine, which increases curcumin absorption by up to 2,000%. The coconut milk provided healthy fats that helped the fat-soluble curcumin enter her bloodstream effectively. And the gentle simmering process activated the turmeric's compounds without creating the concentrated doses that can overwhelm the system. Within 3 weeks, Dorothy noticed her morning stiffness lasting only minutes instead of hours. After 2 months, the swelling in her hands had reduced so significantly that she picked up her paintbrushes again. 6 months later, her inflammatory markers, C-reactive protein levels, had dropped from 8.2 milligrams to 2.1 milligrams, well within the normal range. Dorothy didn't just get her health back, she got her passion back. She recently had her first art exhibition in 3 years, and she credits her daily turmeric ritual with giving her life meaning again. Then there's Michael Thompson, a 45-year-old executive who came to me with what we call metabolic syndrome: high blood sugar, elevated cholesterol, high blood pressure, and excess belly fat. Michael was pre-diabetic and heading straight toward a heart attack or stroke. His stress levels were through the roof, and his inflammatory markers were dangerously elevated. Instead of immediately reaching for multiple medications, I suggested Michael try incorporating turmeric into his daily routine through food rather than supplements. We created a simple protocol. Twice daily, he would prepare what I call golden milk therapy: 1/4 teaspoon of organic turmeric powder mixed with warm almond milk, a tiny amount of fresh ginger, a pinch of cinnamon, and just a crack of black pepper. But here's what made the difference: timing and consistency. Michael drank this mixture exactly 30 minutes before his breakfast and dinner every single day for 4 months. The key was the pre-meal timing, which helped regulate his blood sugar response to food, and the consistent daily dose that allowed the anti-inflammatory compounds to build up gradually in his system. The results were remarkable. Michael's fasting glucose dropped from 118 milligrams DL to 94 milligrams DL. His LDL cholesterol fell from 165 to 121. His blood pressure went from 145/92 to 128/78. Most impressive of all, his waist measurement decreased by 4 inches as the chronic inflammation that was driving his belly fat accumulation finally began to resolve. Michael Lost 28 pounds without changing anything else in his diet except adding this simple turmeric. Protocol. His energy levels soared, his sleep improved, and his wife said he seemed like a different person. Calmer, more focused, genuinely happier. But perhaps the most moving transformation I've witnessed was with Eleanor Jackson, an 82-year-old widow who was showing early signs of cognitive decline. Her memory was failing, she was becoming confused about familiar places, and her family was terrified they were watching the early stages of dementia. Eleanor's daughter brought her to me after reading about turmeric's potential brain protective benefits. But instead of giving Eleanor supplements that might be too harsh for her aging system, we took a gentler approach. Every evening, Eleanor would prepare a simple turmeric paste by mixing 1/4 teaspoon of turmeric powder with a small amount of warm water and a tiny drop of coconut oil until it formed a smooth paste. She would then take this paste directly on her tongue, followed by a glass of warm water. The direct contact with her mouth's mucous membranes allowed for optimal absorption, while the coconut oil provided the fat necessary for curcumin uptake. We also added a weekly routine where she would prepare turmeric rice, cooking jasmine rice with a teaspoon of turmeric, which turned the rice golden and infused it with healing compounds. After 6 months of this gentle protocol, Eleanor's family couldn't believe the transformation. Her memory sharpened, her confusion lifted, and she began engaging in conversations with the wit and wisdom they remembered from years past. Cognitive tests showed measurable improvements in both memory and processing speed. Eleanor recently celebrated her 83rd birthday by organizing her own party, something she couldn't have managed a year ago. She still takes her evening turmeric paste religiously, and she swears it's what keeps her mind clear and her spirits high. These success stories all share common elements: appropriate dosing, proper preparation methods, correct timing, and most importantly, patience. The patients who succeed with turmeric understand that healing isn't about taking the maximum dose possible. It's about taking the right dose consistently over time. After decades of observing what works and what doesn't, I've developed 7 fundamental principles for using turmeric safely and effectively. I encourage you to write these down in your health journal, because mastering these principles could be the difference between healing and harm. This isn't optional. It's essential for absorption. Curcumin, turmeric's active compound, is fat-soluble and poorly absorbed on its own. Studies show that curcumin absorption increases by 2,000% when combined with piperine from black pepper. The ideal ratio is 1/4 teaspoon of turmeric powder to just a tiny pinch of freshly ground black pepper. For the fat component, use coconut oil, olive oil, or full-fat milk. Even a small amount makes a dramatic difference. I recommend 1 teaspoon of oil or 2 tablespoons of full-fat milk per 1/4 teaspoon of turmeric. This combination ensures that the curcumin reaches your bloodstream instead of passing through your digestive system unused. Never begin with high doses. Start with just 1/8 teaspoon of turmeric powder daily for the first week, then gradually increase to 1/4 teaspoon if well tolerated. This allows your liver to adapt to processing curcumin and prevents the overwhelming that led to patients like Margaret's liver crisis. Your body needs time to adjust to turmeric's powerful compounds. Rushing this process by taking massive doses from day 1 is like trying to run a marathon without training. You'll injure yourself instead of getting stronger. Never take turmeric on an empty stomach. The compounds in turmeric can irritate your gastric lining and cause nausea, stomach pain, or even gastritis when taken without food. The ideal timing is either with your meal or 30 minutes after eating. I recommend dividing your daily turmeric into 2 smaller doses, one with breakfast and one with dinner. This maintains steady levels in your bloodstream while being gentler on your digestive system than one large dose. Turmeric significantly affects blood clotting, blood sugar, and bile production. If you're taking blood thinners like warfarin, aspirin, or clopidogrel, you must consult your doctor before using turmeric. The same applies if you're on diabetes medications, blood pressure medications, or if you have gallstones, kidney stones, or liver disease. Keep a detailed record of all medications and supplements you're taking, including dosages and timing. Share this with any healthcare provider before adding turmeric to your routine. What seems like a simple spice can dramatically alter how your medications work in your body. Not all turmeric is created equal. Avoid cheap supplements with fillers, artificial colors, or unknown sources. Look for organic turmeric powder that's bright golden orange in color and has a strong, earthy aroma. If it smells musty or looks dull, it's likely old or contaminated. For supplements, choose those that specifically list curcumin content. Aim for 500 to 1,000 milligrams daily maximum and include piperine or black pepper extract for absorption. Third-party testing certificates are crucial. They ensure you're not consuming heavy metals or adulterants that cheap products often contain. Fresh turmeric root is often the best choice. Look for firm, plump roots with bright orange flesh when cut. Store fresh turmeric in the refrigerator wrapped in paper towels inside a plastic bag. And use within 2 weeks. Heat activates turmeric's healing compounds. Simply sprinkling raw turmeric powder on food provides minimal benefit. Instead, try these proven preparation methods. The golden milk method. Simmer 1/4 teaspoon turmeric powder with 1 cup of milk, dairy or plant-based, for 5 to 10 minutes. Add a pinch of black pepper and a teaspoon of honey if desired. This creates a bioavailable form that's gentle on the stomach. The turmeric paste technique. Mix turmeric powder with a small amount of warm water to create a thick paste. Let it sit for 10 minutes to activate the compounds. Then take directly or mix into yogurt or warm milk. The fresh root method. Grate fresh turmeric root into soups, stews, or rice dishes during cooking. The heat releases the curcumin while the other ingredients provide the fats needed for absorption. Your body will tell you if turmeric isn't right for you. Stop immediately if you experience unusual bruising, bleeding gums, stomach pain that persists beyond meals, yellowing of skin or eyes, dark urine, or unusual fatigue. Also watch for interactions with your existing medications. If you're taking turmeric and notice your blood sugar dropping more than usual, or if cuts take much longer to stop bleeding, these are signs that turmeric is amplifying your medication's effects. Now, let me explain why turmeric works so powerfully in both directions, as healer and as potential toxin. Understanding this science will help you use turmeric wisely rather than blindly. Turmeric contains over 300 chemical compounds, but the star player is curcumin, making up about 2 to 9% of most turmeric powders. Curcumin is what gives turmeric its golden color and most of its therapeutic properties. But here's what's fascinating. Curcumin is one of nature's most potent anti-inflammatory compounds, capable of blocking multiple inflammatory pathways simultaneously. When inflammation runs wild in your body, which happens in conditions like arthritis, heart disease, diabetes, and even cancer, curcumin acts like a master conductor, orchestrating your immune system to calm down and restore balance. It specifically inhibits enzymes called cyclooxygenase and lipoxygenase, which are key players in the inflammatory cascade. But curcumin doesn't just reduce inflammation. It's also a powerful antioxidant that can neutralize free radicals and stimulate your body's own antioxidant defenses. This dual action makes it incredibly effective for conditions driven by both inflammation and oxidative stress, which includes most age-related diseases. Here's where it gets really interesting. Curcumin can actually turn on beneficial genes and turn off harmful ones. It activates something called NRF2 pathways, which boost your body's production of protective enzymes. At the same time, it suppresses NF-kappa B, a protein complex that triggers inflammatory responses. However, this powerful biological activity is exactly why turmeric can be dangerous in the wrong doses or circumstances. When you flood your system with concentrated curcumin, you're essentially hijacking multiple biological pathways simultaneously. Your liver, which is responsible for processing and eliminating these compounds, can become overwhelmed. The liver processes curcumin through phase 1 and phase 2 detoxification pathways. In phase 1, enzymes break down curcumin into intermediate metabolites. In phase 2, these metabolites are conjugated with other molecules to make them water-soluble for elimination. When you consume excessive amounts, you can saturate these pathways, causing toxic intermediates to accumulate in liver tissue. This is why the patients who succeed with turmeric use it in ways that support rather than overwhelm These natural detoxification processes, they provide their bodies with the cofactors needed for safe processing, like the antioxidants in black pepper and the healthy fats that assist. Elimination. Blood sugar regulation is another area where turmeric shows its dual nature. Curcumin can significantly lower blood glucose by improving insulin sensitivity and reducing glucose production by the liver. For someone with diabetes, this can be tremendously beneficial. But for someone taking diabetes medications, this effect can combine with their medication to cause dangerous drops in blood sugar. The blood thinning effects work through multiple mechanisms. Curcumin inhibits platelet aggregation, the clumping together of blood cells that forms clots. It also affects the coagulation cascade, the complex series of reactions that leads to blood clotting. While this can be protective against heart attacks and strokes, it becomes dangerous when combined with anticoagulant medications or in people with bleeding disorders. Understanding these mechanisms helps explain why preparation method matters so much. Heat increases the bioavailability of curcumin by breaking down cell walls in the turmeric root or powder. Fat provides the medium for absorption since curcumin is fat-soluble. Black pepper's piperine inhibits enzymes in the liver and intestines that would otherwise break down curcumin before it can be absorbed. This is also why fresh turmeric root often works better than powders or supplements. The root contains not just curcumin, but dozens of other compounds that work synergistically. These companion compounds help modulate curcumin's effects, making them more gentle and sustainable than the isolated, concentrated curcumin found in supplements. Based on everything I've learned from my patients' successes and failures, here's the protocol I now recommend for safe, effective turmeric use. Morning protocol. Start each day with golden turmeric milk. Heat 1 cup of your preferred milk. I recommend whole milk or full-fat coconut milk to a gentle simmer. Add 1/4 teaspoon of organic turmeric powder, a tiny pinch of freshly ground black pepper, and a half teaspoon of coconut oil. Simmer for 5 to 8 minutes, stirring occasionally. Add honey or maple syrup to taste only after removing from heat, as high heat can destroy beneficial enzymes and natural sweeteners. Drink this 30 minutes before breakfast. This timing allows the curcumin to begin working in your system before your first meal, helping to regulate your blood sugar response throughout the day. Evening protocol. 2 hours after dinner, prepare what I call Caldwell's calming turmeric tea. Combine 1/4 teaspoon turmeric powder with hot water. Add a small amount of coconut oil or a tablespoon of warm milk, plus that essential pinch of black pepper. Let it steep for 5 minutes before drinking. This evening dose helps your body repair and reduce inflammation while you sleep, when healing processes are most active. The timing ensures it won't interfere with iron absorption from your dinner, as turmeric can bind to iron and reduce its uptake. Weekly intensive. Once per week, prepare fresh turmeric root curry or soup. Use about 1 inch of fresh turmeric root, grated, cooked slowly with vegetables and healthy fats like olive oil or ghee. The prolonged cooking time in combination with other foods creates the ideal environment for curcumin absorption while minimizing any harsh effects. Dosage guidelines. Never exceed 1 teaspoon of turmeric powder daily, which provides approximately 200 to 400 milligrams of curcumin. This is far lower than most supplement doses, but it's the amount that provides benefits without risks when properly prepared and consistently used. Preparation. Storage. Store turmeric powder in an airtight glass container, away from light and heat. Replace every 6 months, as curcumin degrades over time. Fresh turmeric root should be used within 2 weeks of purchase and stored in the refrigerator, wrapped in paper towels. Before you begin any turmeric protocol, there are absolute safety rules that could save your life. Complete medical review. If you're taking any medications whatsoever, show this list to your doctor before starting turmeric: blood thinners, diabetes medications, blood pressure medications, stomach acid reducers, or any supplements. Turmeric can amplify or interfere with all of these. Gallbladder and kidney stone protocol. If you have a history of gallstones or kidney stones, start with tiny amounts, just a pinch of turmeric every other day, and monitor carefully for any abdominal pain. Turmeric stimulates bile production, which can be beneficial for healthy gallbladders, but dangerous if stones are present. Surgery safety. Stop all turmeric consumption at least 2 weeks before any scheduled surgery. Turmeric's blood thinning. Effects can cause excessive bleeding during procedures, turning routine surgery into a life-threatening situation. Pregnancy and nursing. Pregnant or nursing women should avoid therapeutic doses of turmeric entirely. While cooking with small amounts is generally safe, concentrated doses can stimulate uterine contractions or affect milk production. Iron deficiency awareness. If you have iron deficiency anemia, take turmeric at least 2 hours away from iron. Supplements or iron-rich meals. Turmeric can bind to iron and prevent its absorption, potentially worsening anemia. I recommend all my patients who use turmeric therapeutically follow a simple monthly monitoring routine. Week 1 check-in. Note: any changes in energy levels, sleep quality, pain levels, or digestive function. These early indicators tell us how your body is responding to turmeric. Week 2 assessment. Pay attention to any unusual bruising, changes in bleeding time from minor cuts, or stomach discomfort. These can be early warning signs of dosage issues. Week 3 evaluation. Assess the benefits you're experiencing. Are you seeing improvements in the conditions you're targeting? If not, you may need to adjust your preparation method or timing rather than increasing dosage. Monthly review. If you're using turmeric for a specific health condition, consider basic lab tests every 3 months. Liver enzymes, ALT/AST, complete. Blood count, and inflammatory markers like C-reactive protein. This objective data shows whether your protocol is helping or harming. Throughout my years of practice, I've identified the most dangerous mistakes people make with turmeric. The more is better. Fallacy. Taking multiple turmeric supplements, plus adding turmeric to all your food creates dangerous cumulative doses. Your liver can only process so much curcumin safely. Stick to one consistent method and dosage. The supplement trap. Concentrated curcumin supplements bypass your body's natural regulatory mechanisms. When you consume turmeric in food, your digestive system naturally limits absorption to safe levels. Supplements can overwhelm these safeguards, ignoring drug interactions. Turmeric affects the same pathways as many medications. Just because it's natural doesn't mean it's automatically compatible with your prescription drugs. Always check with healthcare providers. Poor quality products. Cheap turmeric often contains adulterants like lead, artificial colors, or contaminated ingredients. Some studies have found dangerous levels of heavy metals in imported turmeric powders. Inconsistent timing. Taking turmeric randomly, sometimes morning, sometimes evening, sometimes with food, sometimes without, prevents your body from adapting and optimizing its processing systems. For those ready to take their turmeric practice to the next level, here are advanced techniques I've developed with my most successful patients. The fermented turmeric method. Mix turmeric powder with a small amount of water and let it sit at room temperature for 24 hours before consumption. This begins a gentle fermentation process that pre-activates some of the curcumin and makes it more bioavailable. The turmeric oil infusion. Heat coconut oil gently and add fresh turmeric slices, simmering on low heat for 20 minutes. Strain and use this infused oil for cooking. The fat-soluble curcumin concentrates in the oil, creating a potent but gentle preparation method. The golden rice technique. When cooking rice or quinoa, add turmeric and a small amount of oil during the cooking process. The starches in the grain help modulate curcumin absorption, creating a sustained release effect that provides benefits throughout the day. The key to success with turmeric lies not in following someone else's protocol exactly, but in understanding your own body's needs and responses. Start by assessing your current health status, medications, and goals. If you're dealing with inflammatory conditions like arthritis, focus on consistent daily dosing with the Golden Milk Protocol. If you're concerned about cognitive health, the gentle evening paste method may be more appropriate. For metabolic issues like pre-diabetes, the pre-meal timing becomes crucial. Keep a daily log of your turmeric consumption, noting the amount, preparation method, timing, and any effects you notice, both positive and negative. This data will help you optimize your approach and catch any problems early, Remember that turmeric is a marathon therapy, not a sprint solution. The patients who see the most dramatic improvements are those who commit to consistent, moderate use over months or years, not those seeking immediate dramatic changes through high doses. As I look back on 45 years of medical practice, I'm struck by how often the most powerful medicines are hiding in plain sight. Turmeric has been used safely and effectively for thousands of years, but our modern tendency to believe that more equals better has turned this healing ally into a potential threat. The choice yours. You can continue using turmeric the way everyone else does, randomly, inconsistently, without understanding, and hope for the best. Or you can apply the wisdom I've shared today and use turmeric the way it was meant to be used, as a gentle, consistent partner in your journey toward optimal health. I encourage you to start small. Tonight, prepare a simple cup of golden milk. Using the method I described, notice how your body feels. Pay attention to your energy tomorrow morning. This small step could be the beginning of a transformation that changes your health trajectory for the next 20 years. Health isn't built through expensive procedures or miracle cures. It's built through small, intelligent choices made consistently over time. Turmeric, when used wisely, can be one of those choices. Take a moment right now to check your spice cabinet. Do you have turmeric? Is it fresh and aromatic? Do you have black pepper and a healthy fat to combine with it? These simple preparations tonight could be the foundation of better health tomorrow. Next week, I'll share the incredible story of how combining turmeric with specific vegetables can create even more powerful, healing combinations, natural partnerships that can help reverse years of damage and protect you from future disease. The synergies I've discovered through my patients' experiences will amaze you.